long week last week, traveling to the state of Georgia, where we played Georgia State. They haven't lost a game in January since 16 in their building. And tough place to play. We didn't play very well. Our defense was not up to standards. At the half, we felt like we should have had the lead. We were down 3 and should have been tied, or really should have had the lead because we had our opportunities. And then the second half, our defense disappeared on us. They made a lot of shots, and we didn't make ours. Their zone pushed us to shoot three-point shots, which we missed 23, and I felt like probably 17 of those 23 we had wide-open looks that we've got to make. So if we can make some of those, I think the outcome could be a little different. We out-rebounded them again, as we normally do. We had 16 offensive boards, which allowed us to score. Jakeenan was active on the glass, had another really good game, scoring 36 points and giving us an opportunity to win. We left the next morning after film and drove to Statesboro, where we had a short practice but spirited practice Friday night, and came out the next day, shot the ball a lot better in the first half, had the lead, extended the lead in the second half. We had talked about finishing the halves better in all of our conference play, starting the Arkansas State game here, and we were able to do that, and we got a couple of extra points on a 2-for-1 at the end of that first half at Georgia Southern, with R.J. Gladney making 2 free throws. Second half, we had a couple of shots and bump it up to 16. I told the team at halftime that they were 5 games. They had trailed by double figures in the second half and won, and they were going to make a push. And, of course, the crowd gets into it. It's a very loud arena, maybe the loudest we've played in outside of Kansas. And they came back. Marcus Stroman gets in foul trouble. He sits for about 8 or 10 minutes. Our guard play, not having Trajan Wesley, was an issue, and we didn't attack their soft pressure as we did the first time, and Jakeenan got a dunk. But we turned the ball over a few times to help their momentum, let them score, and defense wasn't as solid. We couldn't rebound on the offside of the zone, place that Malik normally plays, and it cost us some baskets down the stretch. But I was really proud of our guys for hanging together. Total team win. A lot of people contributed. We had 6 guys make baskets, and down the stretch, our 2 seniors, once we gave up the lead, the 2 seniors took over. Marcus was 6 for 6 from the free throw line and made a tough 2. And, of course, Jakeenan had 2 great defensive rebounds, 2 free throws to put us ahead, and a block shot that helped ice the game. So, good win against a team that doesn't lose much. I think they were 39 and 9 at home, maybe in their conference games since they've joined the Sun Belt. Very difficult place to play, and we've won there 2 years in a row and 3 out of 4. So we're excited to get the win and look forward to a couple of days off, settling into class, getting healthy, and getting some practice in before we play a very good Monroe team on Saturday afternoon. She stepped up his play. We have talked at the beginning of games when we came back after Christmas. I sat down with the 3 seniors and told them it was time for them to amp up their play. It certainly felt like Malik was playing at a high level when Jakeenan went out against Louisiana Tech and basically missed 2 games. Malik had his back-to-back career highs of 22, 29. He had 15 at halftime against Southeastern and 19 with 13 and a half to go when he exited with his knee. So he was doing what he needed to do, and then Jakeenan certainly amped his up. He set in the first half against Southeastern. He came back in the second half. He had nine points, I think 10 rebounds, and 6 block shots, 3 in 1 possession. And he carried that over to the next game against A-State with 17 first-half points. I challenged him at halftime to get 30 and 15. He only got 2 points the second half. We struggled, didn't make shots, and lost that basketball game. But the next game, he had a great first half, a great second half, continued it in Atlanta and all the way to Statesboro, which is right next to Springfield where he grew up. So I'm proud that he's working hard and taking it on his shoulders. As a senior captain, he and Marcus are trying to lead, and if we can continue to get other guys to make shots with them, then we should be able to win some more basketball games.
He scored 101 points in 3 ball games. That's a pretty good score since you've been here. Do you know anybody? Remember off the top of your head anybody but had Alfred, Sean, Mike?
No, not that many. Certainly Alfred only scored 30 a couple times, and Sean as well. I remember Sean had 34, I believe, against South Alabama in the conference tournament in New Orleans. Had a great game there. But it's quite a feat. I missed the 45-point showing, and that's the most I've ever had a player score. I had a young man at Sam Houston that scored 45 in his last home game. Seneca Wall is a great player for me, a great competitor. But that's quite a run that he's made. He's playing with a high level of confidence and certainly is doing all he can to help this basketball team. So, again, I'm excited about his preparation and his focus and what he's doing.
Talk about Marcus. You mentioned you guys had a really spirited practice on Friday, so what do you want from your team going forward in terms of just being consistent in terms of hitting down threes and just hitting other long-range shots?
Well, we have to hit three-point shots. It's certain. It's something Jay and I talk about quite a bit. And the trend we started a year ago, if you look, I believe 41% of our shots were from three-point range. Last year we set a record for three-point field goals made here at the university, and that's something that a lot of other teams are doing as well. And Monroe's shooting over 50% of their shots from three. So it's a total change in their style, and it's working for them. But if you can make the three-point shot, you've got a great advantage. And we're going to continue to try to make ours and get good looks, and also run some people off the three-point line and try to limit the numbers. You know, the easiest way to keep people making threes is you don't give them any. But that's easier said than done, especially when you got players like Tukey Brown and Simons that can get to the basket, or Ertl for Monroe.
Marcus really struggled last few ball games, but he came up huge at the end from Georgia Southern. About you got one of those come from ahead victories. He's hit free throws down the stretch. How big was it? I think I said like 9 and 10. He had like 6.
Yeah.
How impressive is it that he overcomes struggling like he did?
Well, he started shooting free throws well last year at Clemson, and we built on that, and it carried out through last year, and it's carried into this year too. And I believe he and Jakeenan are maybe second and third in the league in free throw shooting behind the young man at Monroe. So we ended practice Friday night. We usually end practice with one player making a free throw. And the other night it was Marcus. I put him there, and on the same basket that he made the 6, he made all net to end our practice on a high note. So we were 11 for 11 the second half, and Jeremy Hayes missed the last one, which the game was already over. It was a 4-point game.
What can he do to minimize the foul issues, or is it just inevitable with playing aggressive and the minutes he has and who he's having to guard?
He has to be smart. He has to play like a senior. One thing that he tries to do at times is take it on himself to do too much, to get to the basket. And if we'll reverse the ball side to side and move the defense, he has a better chance of penetrating and getting to the paint and making a play for other people or himself. But he has to be smart on defense and on offense, Tim. People, they were trying to flop the other day. I mean, if you saw the game, they had guys that were flopping left and right. And he got into a situation where he leaned on a guy, and the guy flopped, and they called a push-off. And he just doesn't need to put himself in that situation. He did the same thing in the game against Little Rock at home. I think it was his 5th foul, maybe. If I remember right, I was in the emergency room, and I jumped up out of my chair because I was a little bit concerned with that much time being left in the game and Trajan already being out. So he doesn't need to put himself in that position where he has an opportunity to get an offensive foul. And he had 4 fouls late in the game, and so did Tukey Brown. So it's the same thing. If he goes out, their odds of winning go down drastically.
How do you think the basketball rivalry has evolved with ULM in the last 4 or 5 years?
I think it's always been a really good rivalry, and Coach Richard's done a great job. A couple of years ago, he had an outstanding team. They kind of reloaded. He was senior heavy. They're going strictly junior college. They have one high school player on their roster, and they're trying to get a 2-year fix and stay old, and it's working for him. And he's changed his style of play a little bit. They used to grind and be slow and be tough defensively, and now they're shooting the ball. More than half their shots are from three. They're shooting 88% from the free throw line in conference games, which is outstanding. We're shooting it pretty good as well, but not quite 88%. And they're shooting 39-7 maybe from three. So they're doing a good job. They're shooting the ball faster, scoring the ball faster, and scoring 83 points a game. So the rivalry's been a good one. It's always tough to play there. And in my opinion, Monroe and the Cajuns preseason are two of the top 4 teams. And Keith thinks they're a top 3 team, and so far they have been. And with a little luck, he could be 4-0 right now.
What about their balance of scoring? How do you guys combat that?
Well, we'll have to defend them. They don't play but 7 or 8 guys. They have 4 guys that average 13 points or more per game. And we'll have to do a good job defending those guys, limit their 3-point looks. And then also we'll have to make shots when we have the opportunity. He's good. Keith had asked me last year when we played them about Marcus and Malik and Jakeenan and the guys sitting out. And he said, our best player's sitting out right now. And he's really doing a good job, and it was Smith. So I think he feels like they give him more. He gives him more athleticism, a playmaker, a guy like Jakeenan that's athletically special, can do things, and then that others can't do, and certainly can shoot the basketball. He's a very good 3-point shooter, and he's a very good free throw shooter also, and attack guy. I would like to hope so, yes. This is a good week for the bye week there, again, to get healthy, as we talked about earlier.
Go a little deeper on the bench. How much is that just planned beforehand? And how important is it to get other contributions than maybe scoring necessarily? Mason had a couple of turnovers in there, and glad they got a couple of rebounds.
Yeah, got his hand on the ball a couple times, and he's done a good job. And if there's guys that he can guard, then he certainly knows what we're doing and can give our guys some minutes on the bench to rest. R.J. Gladney came in the game and blocked a shot, changed a couple of shots, certainly can rebound the basketball if he has time. He's still behind on the offensive end of the floor, but defensively I felt like we needed him the other day to give us a boost of energy, and he did that. So as long as we keep pushing the right buttons and get some guys a little bit more contribution, that's certainly good.
You spoke about Jakeenan's great run earlier. When you have a guy who's given that much effort for wins, do you feel like that inspires the other guys on the team when they see how much he's determined?
Well, I certainly think so. When we addressed the team before we took the court Thursday night in Atlanta, like us, with most of our players from Louisiana, Georgia State has 11 of their players from Georgia. And I told the team as we left to take the floor for the last time before the game that we have the best player in the state of Georgia on our team. And he proved it, and he proved it again on Saturday. And I was certainly excited for him to score his 1,000th point in his career, which is quite an accomplishment. He did it at home at Statesboro. That's a really good thing for him and his family, and certainly all the people that came to support him the other night. He had a great crowd there. But it does inspire other guys to play better, and they're trying to jump on and play, and knowing that he's not going to score 45 or 36 every night. But when he does, it certainly gives you a great opportunity to win.
The depth of the way it is right now, just with how you guys won this past game, how can that help you just for the Sun Belt Conference tournament in terms of playing with fouls and just having to be tight defensively down the stretch?
Well, there's a lot of basketball. We've got 14 games left before we get to the tournament. But the more we can get guys involved in rotation, have more depth, certainly can help us, because you get in a situation like that, you got to hope it's the other team and not you, because that's always a concern when you go into tournament play.
I don't know if you want to touch this one or not, but do you feel like a one-game suspension for a crew is enough
I don't know about the officiating. I mean, it's very, very unfortunate for something like that to happen. And, you know, basically it cost Monroe the game. I would have defended a little bit different personally, but still, things happen, and it's very unfortunate. But you know, officials need to be held accountable. They are to some degree. I mean, there was a quick statement that was sent out. Their names, or I don't know if their names went out or not, but they should. Just like their names should be in every box score so everybody can know. And I remind them all the time. Did Saturday that this game's televised. A lot of people are watching, so you need to make sure you're making the right calls.
This probably can't happen, but do you wish there was a mechanism to be able to address that in terms of what the outcome was?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's unfortunate. As I said, Monroe had both games won with less than 6 seconds to go, and they give up 3 to Georgia Southern, and then they turn around and give up a travel that results in a basket. So they could be 4-0 or 3-1 very easily, and it certainly affects things in the long term and the seeding. Every game, every call matters. But somebody's got to see it. You got 3 guys, and there's 6 eyes on that play, and 2 of the eyes have got to catch that and bring everybody and stop it and make sure. They always say we want to get it right, and they go to the monitor numerous times and stop the flow of the game. So the game's over, go back and get it right.
Obviously, it's semester break right now, but just after playing in an environment like Statesboro, what do you think you guys can do just to have more of an environment like that here and just get more people to come?
Well, we're glad that the students will be back. We've still got a week and a half, so we'll have everybody ready. Had good crowds the last couple of games. Well, I missed the last game, but the last couple of games before the break without our students basically, and we still had a good student turnout for the Tech game, and so we need to continue to market like our program is doing, and get our students out and get the people out. If you missed Jakeenan's 45-point performance, then you missed a great performance, and that's the thing I love about our sport. You never know what you're going to get. You got 13 young men. They have different issues and concerns every day as a coach, and it's always exciting to come to the office and see what's going to happen that day and to try to help them. But as we talked about with Peyton and Sean Long in the past, we've had great players here who are worth the price of admission, and Jakeenan Gant is no different. He's as spectacular as an athlete as I've coached, and I've coached some good ones.
What did you think of the minutes that PJ Harden was able to give you on the road? Is that something that you can bring on a game-by-game basis?
Certainly hope so, Seth. He played good in previous games. I thought he gave us a boost at Lake Charles and at Hammond, and then didn't play great against Arkansas State. Just made a shot or two, but and he was the only guy who was making one there for a couple games in the second half. But didn't play great in Atlanta, and had confidence in him, and we started him, and he did a good job. And he hit the big three-pointer that got us a lead back, I believe, late in the game. So certainly proud of him, and he's working to get better defensively every day. He also got a huge offensive rebound and was able to hit Jerikas on a cut and get a layup that was a big play in the second half.
On that note, how does Jakeenan just overall make your defense better? He had 5 blocks in that game. So just what does he do for your defense in terms of limiting mistakes or allowing other people to make mistakes, I should say, and cleaning things up at the basket?
Well, he plays defense for everyone, when we vote, and I ask the other coaches, who do you think the defensive player of the year is for us on our team? And usually they're going to come back and say, well, Jakeenan, because he played defense for everybody, because he erases a lot of mistakes. And when you can get beat on the perimeter, and maybe that's something we can do at Monroe. We can push these guys off, make them take tough twos, and you got a guy like Jakeenan back at the basket that has great timing and athleticism to change shots as well as block shots. It certainly can help your cause. Yeah, we've joked about that before. I mean, that's the biggest slight that our conference has done, our coaches, and it's very frustrating. I'm the head of our coaches committee, and I'll address it again in the spring like I usually do. But the guy led the league in field goal percentage and led the league in block shots. Last year's Defensive Player of the Year, and was nominated one of 4 guys, and he doesn't make first team. So if they want to put, leading scores off bad teams on our all-conference team, then they can do that. But I've never done that. I think that's a major mistake and not very fair.